I'm going to do the intro, not you, okay?
Yeah, right.
Hi everyone, this is Carmignani for Mass Golf in our impromptu Mass Golf studios at Golf House in Norton. I'm joined by a new friend at Mass Golf, Jenna Walkiewicz from the Member Services team. Jenna, thanks for spending some time with me today.
Of course, I am happy to be here.
Oh, great. And so we're going to talk about a subject that's near and dear to Jenna's heart, something that I needed to be a little more educated on. I feel like year after year I'm just learning a bit more about health and wellness. And I'm like, you know what? Let's sit down and talk about it. And Kat, let's go ahead and Google exactly
Naturally.
health and wellness, right? Let's hit to the internet, the interweb. And what the internet tells me is, right, these are two very separate things, but they have to be together, right, in order to kind of succeed here. So health is a state of physical, mental, and social well-being. I like that definition. But on the wellness side, it's optimal state of health of individuals and groups. It's that positive approach to living. So health is the goal, and wellness is the process to achieve it. So with that being said, like my mind's racing right now. Like how do you define health and wellness on your own, or how did it become such an important part of your life? How did you get to that point where you wanted to embrace it?
To be completely honest, I feel like for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and me particular, I didn't realize that the whole health and wellness thing was a thing until I didn't really have it anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, when you're a kid and you're growing up, you're active, you're doing all these things, and then you go to college, and I was fortunate to be a college athlete, but there came a point where I realized, like, I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I am not as positive, upbeat, as healthy, I don't feel as good as I did years ago when I was a younger kid. Mm-hmm. You know, I was still a kid in college, but, you know, I was very active in what I thought I was supposed to be, but I realized that I didn't feel like myself anymore. And it's almost like a shock to the system. And I feel like that happens for a lot of people when they realize, I don't feel good anymore. I'm not who I used to be. I know that I could be doing more, but I don't have the energy or whatever it may be. And it's almost like a gut check kind of. And that's why I realized, okay, there's a lot of information out there. I don't have it all. I don't know everything yet, but I know I want to learn more and I want to feel better.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it started for me.
That's a massive how, and very similarly to what I just said, like needing to like get that education. Mm-hmm. And all right, there's so much that we have to peel through, you know, different articles, different types of, you know, whatever it might be. There's content, there's an insane amount of content out there.
Yeah.
And what is the right fit for individuals. So, right, you can talk about health as it's social, it's mental, it's physical. There's all these different components mm-hmm. of it. So with your story and, you know, how you didn't know it wasn't part of your life until it was gone. So mm-hmm. what's that next step for you? What did that look like?
So like you said, there really is so much information when it comes to health and fitness, and everybody is different. Yeah. Like what works for you and what you enjoy when it comes to fitness or whatever it may be might be completely different for what I enjoy. Everybody's body's different, everybody's lifestyle's different. And so just really, it's almost like I didn't have that outlet yet to find where the information was. So my first step was finding a community of people that also were interested in getting healthier and what they were doing. I tried literally everything under the sun. I tried CrossFit, I tried, you know, gym memberships and Orange Theory, and those work for all different people. Like, mm-hmm. but for me specifically, I needed something, like I was probably the laziest college athlete in terms of like I loved working out and I loved athletics and I loved sports and all that came with it, but getting myself to put forth the effort was like, oh God, you know, so I needed something that fit my schedule, fit my crazy lifestyle, mm-hmm. that was quick and effective for me. And finding, I used the health and wellness online community. That's what works personally for me, and finding that community and people I could lean on at any time was what I needed.
Yeah.
So there really is so many different things. Like you might like running or I'm like yoga, but doesn't mean we're just you don't like running.
I don't know.
But we're just healthy in
Yeah.
different ways. You know,
Yeah.
I think finding joy in being healthy is really hard, because a lot of people think of like getting healthy as work, you know?
Yes.
And when you can binge watch a Netflix series as opposed to go for a run, you know, it really, there's so many distractions in our lives to really keep us from doing the things, the small daily activities that will really help us get to that ultimate goal of feeling well.
Yeah, so all right, I like that you have these. It's fit your lifestyle. You figured out what's worked for you in these small daily activities, right? In the grand scheme of things, like it really probably is just portions of your day. And
2% of my day.
Yeah,
Half hour.
Like
I know.
Right, the decision to make that is probably that much bigger and longer than the actual action. So
yes, you lament overdoing it. Like, I don't want to work out. I'm not going to get up. Let me snooze my alarm.
Yeah.
And you're wasting more time thinking about going out for that run or lifting those weights than you would just actually getting up and doing it.
Yeah.
Which, again, like, I feel like, take it with a grain of salt, though. This has been something I've been working on for 8 years, six years, like, religiously.
Yeah.
So, like, I have this mental attitude now. Like, you're interviewing me now, but if you were to talk to Jenna 6 or 8 years ago, like, it was a struggle, and that's where a lot of people find themselves. They're at the point where, what do I do? How do I just get started, and how do I keep going? Yeah. Like, the fads. Yeah. I could go on and on about fad diets and fad workouts and all of the things, because we live in a microwave society where a lot of us want we want things right away. Amazon, you click a button and you can have a package at your door. You know, so we want it right now, but it really does, in order to live, it sounds so cliche, but living healthy really is a lifestyle. Like, it really is something that you find that works for you, and it's those small inconsequential decisions that you make every day that really do lead up to something that becomes a habit. And it's just like brushing your teeth. It's something that you do every day because it makes you feel good. Even when you really don't want to, you get it done. So
with joining some sort of online community, or having individuals surround you that perhaps are interested in like-minded things, or just are the extra motivators, was there a singular individual or a group, or was this purely on your own from the get-go, or, you know, how did you shape it? So I guess it started when I was in college and, like, just learning how to lift from my team. It started there where it piqued the interest, but then I graduated college and you get a job and you don't really know what to do. And then this is why I love health and fitness, because I feel like I have the avenue to do this for other people. I had an individual who was actually my college golf coach who was like, try this. Like, I see you struggling. Like, this has helped me. I'm one of your closest friends. You know who I am. Like, this is real. Just try it. Like, what do you have to lose? And so having that one person that basically says, hey, Kat, why don't you try this with me? And you give it a go. If it doesn't work, hey, it doesn't work. But for me, and for a lot of people that are within my community now, it was something that they hadn't tried before. And the specific type of workouts that we do, having nutrition is huge. Like, nutrition is so difficult for everybody. Like, who doesn't love pizza, you know, like all the things. But just having that one person, I think, that reaches out to you, where it's not as overwhelming. It's like, hey, just try this, see how it works. And then eventually you kind of pay it forward, and you have other people that join you. And it really is just a group of people that become like-minded. A lot of us are golfers, which is great. Because I truly feel like, especially with former athletes that played a college sport, it's almost like you lose the sense of competition and you don't have that drive anymore. And finding avenues through health and fitness really kind of sparks that feeling that, you know, you loved as an athlete. Even if you weren't a college athlete, though. Like, this is for, my mom does this with me, you know? And she's in her 60s and she is dang healthy. And it's really, it's great being able to motivate somebody else that you know in your own circle to be better. Yeah, this is so similar to, right, the power of the invitation within golf, right? It just took that initial conversation. It took somebody saying, you know, I've got friends that do it, or, you know, I've heard about this, right? And having those simple conversations, but to work as hard as you did for, you said 8 years that you've been at this. And we've got individuals around the office saying that you are one of the most positive people that they've ever met. It's extremely infectious, and we're so glad to have you on the team here. But let's stick with golf. How has health and wellness affected your golf game, positively, negatively, where you're at right now?
Yeah. So when I was playing in college, I keep referring it back to it because that's where it all really started for me. You would walk when you played your rounds. Yeah. And you don't think of like golf as I don't know, like a sport, you know, like I'm out there running sprints and everything. Mm-hmm. But it takes endurance to walk 18 holes carrying your bag. You know, it's obviously much easier when you're in a golf cart, you're not walking as much, but it's still an active sport. You're still walking to your ball, to the green, whatever it may be. And just, I didn't realize like how much you need to be healthy in order to play the game. Mm-hmm. Like now I'm in my 30s, which is not that old, but like you realize that your body changes. Yes. I need to stretch before I go to the driving range. Mm-hmm. Like when I get on the first tee and I make a swing, I'm like, oh my God, I really need to stretch it out. Yeah. So realizing that golf is a game that you can play for the rest of your life.
Yes.
But you still need to be conscious of your health and your muscles and your joints and how you're moving your body and your core. And there's so much that goes into being able to enjoy the sport and the longevity that it really can have. Yeah. You have to focus on your body and just maintaining it. Yeah. You don't need to go crazy. You don't need to train for a marathon or something. But golf is a sport. You know, whether everybody's like, oh, I'm not a golfer. It's like, no, you're a golfer. You're an athlete. So incorporating fitness into your routine will help you play better, help you feel better. Because when you look good, you feel good, you play good, and that's the whole saying.
Yes, yes, I'm into that mantra. So little side story, when you were first starting, there was a women's tournament. You were like a roaming rules official, kind of helping out in all different facets. And I rolled up next to you. And you were sitting there eating like cucumbers or raw vegetables or something, and I was like, okay, she brought all of her own snacks to the course today, but like after like I kind of teased you a bit and then driving away I was like, actually looked pretty good. But it's these little things that, right, you can get to the course and maybe you're like, you know, I'll just get a hot dog at the turn, or right, these different types of things, right, that they're all small pieces of it. You can stretch for 5 minutes ahead of time. It's really not that big of a deal. You can bring healthy snacks with you. You can, you know, you can opt to walk or push instead of ride. Right. So, you know, what are some of these messages that I guess we could kind of push to resonate with the golf community out there in, you know, again, bundling health and wellness together when it comes to golf?
I think you've said it perfectly. It really is the small little things that you can do, that you package them together, and it'll just make you perform better overall. Yeah. I think nutrition is huge. Like nutrition is something that there's a lot of information out there, but again, not necessarily knowing what works for you and your body, but just being prepared. I feel like, you know, that whole saying where, you know, if you're not preparing, your failure to prepare is preparing to fail. Yeah. You know, preparation really is key, especially when it comes to any sport that you're playing, and golf is included. Yeah. Having, like, it's just so easy to grab, you know, when you're at a golf course, like you say, you're at the turn, grab this or grab that, or even, you know, when you're playing an event, sometimes you'll go 4.5 hours without eating anything. Like, our bodies need to be fueled. We are athletes. Golf is an active sport. You need to be fueling your body right. And like these things that seem so ridiculous to me, like I never would have thought that I'd be packing vegetables when I go somewhere, but you know, you learn, all right, yeah, you actually do need vegetables. What they were preaching to you as a child was true. Eat your veggies. Yeah. You know, I used to go like 4 or 5 days without having a single vegetable. It was like carbs, 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 you know. Oh, wow. But there's, you know, we need all the food groups. You need the fruits, the veggies, and the carbs. Yeah. So just being prepared, I think. I mean, that goes with anything in life, but especially when you're heading to the golf course, because it's not like you're playing a half-hour game, you know? You're there for anywhere from 2 hours to 5 or 6 hours, depending on how pace of play is.
It's so true. It is so true. I want to talk a little bit about, I guess, the future for you, and I mean, you've got your own community within golf, within you know, fitness, healthy lifestyle, nutrition, things like that, but you know, how do you remain that positive influence for others? How do you kind of, you know, whether it's guiding people or just answering questions? Yeah.
So I think the coolest thing about my situation is that I get to help people that I know, like my friends, my family, people I played college golf with that were on different teams. Like, you get to reconnect on health and wellness is just something that a lot of people really care about. Whether or not you are super into it and passionate about me, a lot of people care about it. So I can connect with others, and just knowing that, like when I don't want to show up and I don't want to, do a workout, or I don't want to walk instead of ride, whatever it may be. Just knowing that there's people that have sent me a text that said, oh, I did these stretches, or I did this core move, and literally I've gotten messages from girls that work at other state associations. I'm hitting the ball 50 yards further. Like, that's obviously a big case, but when you go from doing really nothing to prepare yourself to doing the little things that then add up, you really see such an improvement. And I stay positive because I know at one point I was in that same position where I didn't know what to do, or I felt lost and I had somebody else to lean on. And now knowing that I can be the person that people look to, it's like, well, yes, I'm showing up for myself, but I'm also showing up for my sister and my friends and my parents and everybody else around me. And it really just motivates me to keep going.
That's huge. And I find it extremely hard to believe. You said earlier that, 8 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe you weren't as positive as you are now or into it. I don't know if I can believe that. Because like this is the person you are. And so almost in taking these, pathways and exploring different things and like maybe somebody ends up finding a new version of themselves in a way. So
I want to say one other thing too, because you mentioned that like this is more than just like workouts and everything. It's more than just fitness. Like golf is such a mental game, and something that I incorporated. And again, I feel like sometimes I sound so cliche, but like it really is, your mindset is just such a big part of not only your life, but really when you're on the golf course, I mean, how much of golf is mental? Yeah. I started implementing reading just like positive books. Like I stopped reading for a while. I read the rules of golf and that was it, Like I stopped reading books after I graduated college, and then slowly I learned, okay, like if I have these positive thoughts, it will then turn into what I'm actually doing. Those thoughts will turn into actions. Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of great books out there for guidance when it comes to the mental game of golf and just, overall wellness too. Like how can you live a better life? What are the things that you can do to be more positive and to be happier? Because it started with fitness, but it turned into, like you said, my social health, my mental well-being, how I act as an employee. Like you're saying that you see these positive reactions, which is awesome. Like I'm glad that I come off as a positive person. But like it's just so much more than your body. Yes. There's so much more that goes into it. And I think the mental growth that you can have, which then will transfer onto the golf course too, is huge. Yeah. My goodness, I feel like we should have more of these conversations. And I feel like I could talk forever. Oh yeah, off camera, you and I probably need to talk a little bit because I've got so many things that I want to go over. But thank you so much for sharing your story, and hopefully it's maybe motivated some individuals to at least start thinking about what health and wellness could mean for them personally and how it becomes a part of their life. So Jenna, thank you again. This was a lot of fun. Thanks, Kat. Thanks for having me.